So, Pat, what was your initial reaction to Alberto Contador's clearance by the Spanish Federation?
Well, the initial reaction is that the UCI now has to study the decision of the Spanish Federation, which we received yesterday. It was some 35 pages long in Spanish. We got to get it translated first, and then also we wait for the full dossier from the Spanish Federation on the whole case. And then we will, get that translated also, spend some time studying that, our legal department and our anti-doping department. We will consult with the World Anti-Doping Agency, and at the end of that period we'll decide where to go, where to proceed.
Do you have an anticipated timeline? It's taken a long time to get to this stage already.
No, I don't have a particular timeline. It depends on how long it takes to study the dossier, and depends on how long it takes for us to make a decision. But once we've studied it, we'll make a decision fairly quickly. After that, then, it depends. If, for instance, we decide to go to CAS, and that's not by any means certain, we will go make an appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. But if we do, we would like, in the UCI, would certainly like that that appeal would be heard before the Tour de France this year, so that everything will be clear going into the Tour de France.
So in the meantime, under the current rules, Alberto Contador is able to race?
That's correct, yeah. He's appealed and he's able to race, yeah.
What's the UCI's response to the fact that politicians got involved in this decision?
I think it's unfortunate. I think the Spanish Federation have done a very good job up to now with this dossier. I think the fact that the politicians intervened at the weekend and made statements which I think were not helpful to the situation put the Spanish Federation under a lot of pressure, and we will never know now really whether the Spanish Federation made the decision on its merits or whether they yielded to the pressure from politicians. But I think it's unfortunate that politicians get involved here, because sport has its own laws, it has its own regulations, it has its own procedures, and I think people should allow the sports authorities to deal with sports disciplinary situations in the way that they always have handled them. And I don't think it's in any way helpful that politicians who know little or nothing about the actual facts of the case would intervene.
For cycling itself, whether Alberto Contador is ultimately found guilty or innocent, the mud has been thrown, it can stick. What sort of damage do you think it does to the sport?
Well, there's no doubt the case has done damage. I mean, the fact that the case is there, and the fact that there's all the speculation about it, and it's again a doping case, it does damage to the sport. But from my point of view as president of the UCI, it just continues and strengthens my resolve to continue fighting against doping in the best way we can. In cycling, we are the sport that is the most advanced in the fight against doping, and that will continue to be the case. And we will seek out cheats. My job is to protect clean athletes. I intend doing that. And wherever, in any way, if we can catch cheats in our sport, we will deal with them and get them out of the sport.